we're back with the latest scoop on all things entertainment. We've got exciting casting news, movie reviews and recommendations, guilty pleasures, and more.
So don't go anywhere, because The Real Deal starts now. Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Real Deal, Ball State's one and only entertainment news and movie review show. I'm Andrew Bennett.
And I'm Kayli Russell. Here at The Real Deal, we pride ourselves on keeping you up to date on the latest Hollywood news. So without further ado, here's Kaitlyn with this week's Hollywood headlines. Take it away, Kaitlyn.
Thanks, Kayli. The Toronto Film Festival concluded Sunday evening, and David O. Russell's latest film, The Silver Linings Playbook, took home the coveted Blackberry People's Choice Award for Best Film. The film stars Bradley Cooper as a mentally unstable former teacher who moves in with his parents and befriends a young widow, played by Jennifer Lawrence. This win at the festival has created strong Oscar buzz for Cooper, Lawrence, Russell, and for the film itself. Runner-up for the top prize was Ben Affleck's third directorial effort entitled Argo, a gripping hostage drama based on a true story. Speaking of Oscar buzz, Paul Thomas Anderson's The Master, which may or may not be about the origins of Scientology, broke a box office record this weekend. The film grossed almost $750,000, which may not sound like much, but keep in mind it only opened in 5 theaters. This gave the film a per-theater average of almost $150,000, the best opening weekend for a live-action film of all time. These per-average totals trumped Wes Anderson's Moonrise Kingdom, which broke the same record earlier this year. The Master is set for a wider release September 21st. And finally, in television news, American Idol has finally completed its judges panel. Rapper Nicki Minaj and country crooner Keith Urban have joined new judge Mariah Carey and veteran Randy Jackson on the hit Fox talent show. This news was a bit overshadowed by MDC, who released information that Colombian songstress Shakira and R&B sensation Usher would be taking over for Christina Aguilera and CeeLo Green as coaches during The Voice's spring 2013 season. However, this change is only temporary, as Aguilera and Green will be back next fall season. This has been Hollywood Headlines. I'm Kaitlyn Tice.
Thanks, Kaitlyn. Want to be the first to know who's been cast in what film? Well, we have a segment for you.
Here with the latest installment of Casting Call is Beal. Aaron?
For those of you who are concerned, rest assured, Academy Award-winning thespian Nicolas Cage is still getting work. Cage is signed on for the thriller I Am Wrath. Cage's character is a corruption-hating vigilante seeking revenge for his wife's murder. Unfortunately, it sounds like this is as close as we're going to get to Nicolas Cage playing the Batman on the big screen, at least for the time being. Cynthia Nixon, best known for playing Miranda in Sex and the City, is attached to play Emily Dickinson in A Quiet Passion. This film is a biopic about the life of the solitary poet whose thousands of poems were almost exclusively published after she died. I suggest buying these tickets as soon as possible because they're going to sell like hotcakes. Watch your back, Avatar. In TV casting news, it seems that Freddie Highmore, who played Charlie in Tim Burton's take on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, is playing Norman Bates in A&E's Bates Motel, a TV prequel to the classic Hitchcock film Psycho. You know, after seeing Highmore's work in Finding Neverland, something about his adorable little face always had me convinced he'd be great as a lonely boy that dresses up in his mother's clothing and stabs women to death in the shower. And finally, fans of AMC's Breaking Bad will be glad to hear that Jonathan Banks, who played fan favorite Mike Ehrmantraut, is coming to NBC's Parks and Recreation for a guest role in Season 5. Banks will be playing the father of Adam Scott's character, Ben Wyatt. Now, I don't watch Parks and Rec, but I'm assuming there'll be decidedly less meth involved in this show than there is in Breaking Bad, but hey, that's network TV for you. And that's a wrap. I'm Aaron Beal, and this has been Casting Call.
Thanks, Aaron. I think a Parks and Recreation and Breaking Bad crossover episode should be next on their list.
That would be interesting, to say the least. But before we start planning, it's time for our first break. When we come back, you'll hear about Holly Wellman's Guilty Pleasure, and we'll give you our recommendation of the week.
But first, here's this week's box office report. Stick around.
There's nothing wrong with being scared, Norman. A long long as you don't let it change who you are. Paranorman.
We don't lay down for nobody.
Those men that attacked you, they work for dangerous people.
You let my daughter go!
I saw something in her.
Somewhere waiting for me. No more sailing.
Ooh, that's good.
Welcome back. We all have that one movie or TV show that we can't get enough of, even if it seems like everyone else hates it. For example, Andrew secretly likes to watch The Vampire Diaries. Right, Andrew?
I don't know about that, Kayli, but I won't tell you about my guilty pleasure, but Holly Wellman is here to tell us about hers. What have you got for us, Holly?
Thanks, guys. With over 500 channels to choose from and thousands of programs, it should be easy to find an educational and inspiring program to watch. But why would I want to do that when trashy reality shows are swarming the airwaves? If I had to choose, I would watch any of the Bachelor series, such as The Bachelor, Bachelorette, or Bachelor Pad. If you somehow manage to escape the hysteria that is The Bachelor, let me give you a brief summary. The Bachelor started in 2002 on ABC. Basically, once upon a time, there was a sad and lonely bachelor who was searching for love, so he turned to a television station for help, because apparently Match.com hadn't been conceived yet. Then, with the help of producers, 25 women show up in one house competing for the single bachelor's hand in marriage, because life is just that kind. After 6 weeks and falling in love constantly with the different women, the bachelor chooses whether to propose or not, and they all may or may not live happily ever after. After the nationwide success of The Bachelor and the heartbreak of one of the women from the first season, The Bachelorette was born. It's the exact same concept as The Bachelor, only this time it comes down to two men who both want to propose to her. But wait, these reality shows sound like a real way to find love. Isn't that how happily ever after works? Apparently not, since only 17% of the couples actually last. Then in 2010, since the producers of The Bachelor and Bachelorette didn't seem happy with the overwhelming success and drama of their two shows, they decided to make a game show where the losers of The Bachelor and Bachelorette compete for cash by voting each other off and winning challenges. Kind of like Survivor with casual hookups. Full disclaimer, I am a person that believes love takes time, so why do I encourage these shows by watching them? Just watch one episode of Ben Flajnik's season and maybe you will understand. With the stress of school and everyday life, watching these shows makes me feel better about my own. I mean, really, would you want to be in the same house as these girls who skinny dip with the guy you really like and who end up winning just by sneaking off to his room all the time? Though most of the plot that happens throughout the show is scripted, it's just the overwhelming drama that seems to draw me into the TV every Monday. I think the other reason why I like these shows so much, especially Bachelor Pad, is the same reason why so many people like certain football teams. You can root for your favorite. I pick a person I like best and faithfully watch every week to see if they win. I mean, football fans don't just watch a game saying, I don't care who wins, as long as they all have fun. That's all that matters. Most of them are yelling at their TVs as if their shouting will make a difference. Suffice it to say, I'm that kind of viewer when it comes to these shows. Sadly, I missed the end of The Bachelor Pad that aired this year, but join me as I watch Sean Lowe, a heartbroken young man from this previous season of The Bachelorette, try and find love and probably some extra cash. Though it hasn't been announced on when the show will air, I know I'll be sure to tune in every Monday. And that is all I have for tonight. I am Holly Wellman, and this has been my guilty pleasure.
Thanks, Holly. Before our next break, we'd like to present our recommendation of the week. Memento is the story of a man suffering from short-term memory loss, resulting from an injury he sustained when his wife was murdered. The last thing he remembers is his wife's death, so he uses Polaroid pictures and tattoos to hunt for her killer.
Released in 2000, Memento stars Guy Pearce and Carrie-Anne Moss and is directed by Christopher Nolan, who helmed major box office hits that include the Dark Knight trilogy and Inception. Speaking of Inception, Memento's plot is similarly complicated and full of twists, keeping the audience guessing up until the very end of the movie. And you can't call yourself a true Chris Nolan fan until you've seen this film, so check it out.
I have this condition.
The condition?
It's my memory.
Amnesia.
No. It's different from that. What? Since my injury, I can't make new memories. Everything fades. If we talk for too long, I'll forget how we started. And next time I see you, I'm not going to remember this conversation.
What's the last thing that you do remember?
My wife.
That's sweet.
Dying.
Lenny!
I guess I've already told you about my condition.
Oh, well, only every time I see you.
You don't remember where you've been or what you've just done?
No, I can't make new memories. It's like waking. It's like you just woke up.
When you find this guy, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna kill him.
Maybe I can help you find him. Are you sure you want this?
My wife deserves vengeance.
Do not trust her. She's gonna use you to protect herself.
I think someone's trying to get me to kill the wrong guy.
You can question everything. You can never know anything for sure.
Teddy, don't believe his lies.
You wander around playing detective. Well, maybe you should start investigating yourself.
Who did this to you?
You did.
I want my life back! Why are you asking me? I can't remember what I've done. I have no short-term memory. Since my injury, I can't make new memories. Everything fades. If we talk for too long, I'll forget how we started. And next time I see you, I'm not going to remember this conversation. I don't even know if I've met you before. I've told you this before, haven't I?
And welcome back. Ever wonder where certain actors and actresses got their start? Well, look no further, because Ashley Lohman is here to tell you about one particular actor who had a role in one of this summer's biggest hits. Take it away, Ashley.
Before I go on and give away which actor or actress I'm going to be talking about, I'd like to start off with a little question. But first, take a quick look at this clip.
Mr. Wayne.
I'm hoping that at least the majority of our audience immediately knew that this clip was taken from The Dark Knight Rises. But do as many people recognize the actor who plays the character of Bane? If you're stumped, don't worry. I'll tell you that the correct answer is this guy. Mr. Tom Hardy. Man, he sure does clean up nice. Anyway, Hardy definitely seems to be doing well for himself, given that Chris Nolan wanted to play the villain in his epic conclusion to the Dark Knight trilogy, and that John Hillcoat wanted him to star in his modern western, Lawless, both of which were two of the biggest movies to hit theaters toward the end of the summer. You might also remember him from last year's boxing film, Warrior, from his appearance in the drama Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, or from his role as a spy in the romantic comedy This Means War, not to mention his supporting role in the 2010 blockbuster Inception. Like I said before, with leading roles in so many recent films, it's safe to say that Hardy is a pretty well-known and sought-after actor. However, I have another question for you. Did you know that he basically got his start by winning a modeling competition on a British TV show? It shouldn't surprise you, because it certainly doesn't surprise me. You saw that picture before, right? Need I say more? Apparently, when Hardy was 21, he entered the Find Me a Supermodel competition televised by the British entertainment show The Big Breakfast. After he won, he entered a contract with an agency called Models One. Only 3 short years after getting some FaceTime, some very handsome FaceTime might I add, Hardy landed a role in the HBO BBC World War II-based miniseries Band of Brothers. He played the role of U.S. Army Private John Janovic in only 2 of the 10 episodes of the 2001 series, but that was enough to get him noticed. In the same year, he accepted a minor role in Black Hawk Down. In 2002, he received a much bigger role in the not quite as well recognized film Deserter, which was also war-themed. After that, he received his first role in the sci-fi film as Shinzon, the evil clone of Captain Jean-Luc Picard in Star Trek Nemesis. From then on, Hardy had a pretty steady streak of supporting roles in average films, including Layer Cake with Daniel Craig and Marie Antoinette with Kirsten Dunst, as well as more roles in miniseries and made-for-TV movies. I hate to say it, but I think Inception was the movie that got him to where he is now. I love the film, but I just think it's a little upsetting that he wasn't properly recognized for his talents earlier on. But hey, he's practically an A-list actor now, right? Well, at least I think he is. And I think he's well on his way. I couldn't be happier about it. I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Actor Spotlight. I'm Ashley Lohman.
Thanks, Ashley. With all those great performances under his belt, Tom Hardy is definitely not the bane of my existence.
Good one, Kayli. But all puns aside, Aiden Hall is here with a top 5 I'm sure a lot of guys will appreciate. Aiden?
Thanks, guys. As the weather cools down, couples find themselves inside a lot more than normal. And with this extended stay indoors comes one of the most dreaded things in a man's vocabulary: romantic comedy. Yes, the romantic comedy has been one of the biggest ball busters since the creation of skinny jeans. And for guys, there's nothing worse than a movie without an explosion or a good fight scene. However, there's good news, my fellow men. While these films don't have explosions to Michael Bayesian proportions, they are the top 5 romantic comedies for men that I vow on my man card. You'll have no problem watching. Number 5, The Ugly Truth. While nothing says female eye candy like Gerard Butler, Butler actually brings some comedic gold to this otherwise copy and paste romantic comedy formula. He plays the crass relationship consultant on a morning news program produced by Abby Richter, an uptight romantic played by Katherine Heigl, who through a long process tries to get Abby to let out her wild side to get the guy of her dreams. While the movie has a lot of twists you see coming and a generic ending, the meat and cheese is Gerard Butler and Katherine Heigl's chemistry throughout the movie. Whether it's the vibrator scene or when he tells her how to eat her hot dog, the two really mesh in this dirty, sexy rom-com that is The Ugly Truth. Number 4 is The 5-Year Engagement. Jason Segel of How I Met Your Mother fame brings a lot to this somewhat quirky romantic comedy, and I would expect nothing less since he wrote the screenplay. The film following an engaged couple who through constant mishaps have to keep pushing back their wedding day. While the movie itself is one of the more realistic romantic comedies out there, its real gems are the supporting actors, including Kevin Hart, Chris Pratt of Parks and Rec, Brian Posehn, and Mindy Kaling from The Office. This movie shines from its one-liners and small, intimate scenes and helps make the movie a pleasure to watch. While not as racy as The Ugly Truth, it does carry the same level of enjoyment, but with just a bit more class. Number 3, The Princess Bride. Back in 1987, Rob Reiner decided to make this unique gem of a romantic comedy based on an imaginary book. The movie tells the story of a beautiful woman named Buttercup, who falls in love with a ranch hand at her farm, and the two begin to live a life together. However, through tragedy, sweet Buttercup believes that her lover has been tragically killed and reluctantly goes to marry the prince of the nearby kingdom when she's taken hostage by bandits. I've probably lost a lot of guys by now, and so I'm going to jump right into why this movie is a great guy movie. While the story sounds like the biggest chick flick of all time, the actors make it into one of the most memorable comedies of all time due to its great performances by Carrie Ells as Wesley, Wallace Shawn and Andre the Giant as the bandits, Billy Crystal as the sorcerer, and Mandy Patinkin as Inigo Montoya. You killed my father, prepare to die. This movie is a riot, and while your girl will be crying with joy, you'll be crying with laughter. Number 2, License to Wed. When you hear romantic comedy 8 times out of 10, it's really not that funny. But with License to Wed, it may be even a bit too funny. The movie stars John Krasinski as Mandy Moore as an engaged couple ready to be married. But the show is stolen by supporting actor Robin Williams. While the movie does carry the romantic comedy feel and does have the couple fighting and making up in the same old happy ending, it's Robin Williams scenes that makes this film memorable. While sometimes he can get a bit annoying, in this movie, you're waiting through the romantic scenes just to have Mr. Williams come out and make you laugh again. And even when the credits are rolling, he doesn't disappoint. And number 1, Crazy Stupid Love. As you watch a married couple fall apart in a hilarious way as the depressed husband tries to salvage his marriage and also get back out into the dating life, you cheer for the blooming relationship between Jacob and Hannah, played by Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, respectively. In parts, you'll feel bad for laughing, and others you'll just feel bad, because the movie is so realistic it's sad, and yet it still gives you a great ending. The movie has lots of ups and very few downs, and it has Kevin Bacon, which instantly puts it on my watch list, because Bacon makes everything better. Am I right? The movie is funny in a wrong kind of way, and when it's all said and done, the movie wraps up wonderfully, and you'll be glad you let her pick the movie for a change. And that wraps it up for the list of the top 5 romantic comedies for guys, so next time your girl wants to cuddle up and watch a movie, suggest one of these great guy flicks, and the movie night can be enjoyable for everybody. I'm Aiden Hall, and this has been the Top 5.
Thanks, Aiden. It's time for our last break, but when we come back, Michelle Islas will give us her review of Anna Kendrick's newest comedy, and Andrew and I will present you with our final word. You don't want to miss this, so stay tuned.
Negotiations over.
We're shooting our way out of here, bro. Okay. On 3, dude. You're gonna empty your mag and run. 1, 2, 3.
What are you?
I just didn't want you to have life in the cheap seats, that's
They were
all.
the cheap seats. Spending every waking moment with my dad watching baseball. Those were the best seats in the house.
Glad you stuck around. This week, we were given the opportunity to see an advanced screening of the acapella-tastic movie, Pitch Perfect. Although the movie doesn't come out for a couple more weeks, Michelle Islas is here to give you her review. What do you think, Michelle?
Director Jason Moore takes a cappella singing in a whole new direction with the movie Pitch Perfect. The film stars Anna Kendrick and centers on her character, Becca, a freshman at Braden University, and her journey as she helps the Bellas, an all-girl a cappella group, defeat their male rivals in a collegiate singing competition. In the movie, the character Becca is more interested in what's coming out of her headphones than making any friends or getting involved in any activities around campus. Becca struggles to find a clique in which she fits, but this all changes when she finds herself auditioning for the Bellas in an attempt to follow her father's advice. What started for Becca as simply an attempt to grant her father's wish to get involved in college and give it a chance before moving to LA to pursue her dream of becoming a music producer turns into a newfound passion and a group of friends, including Fat Amy, played hilariously by bridesmaids Rebel Wilson. Becca teaches the Bellas, a group with nothing in common but singing talent, why taking chances can be a good thing. Becca helps the Bellas convert their traditional arrangements and perfect harmonies into all new mashups and remixes of various popular songs for a chance to win the final competition. Fat Amy's impeccable sense of humor combined with Becca's charm really bring the movie together. It has all the makings of a singing version of the movie Step Up, and instead of making you want to get up and dance, the movie makes you want to sing along to the unique and exciting takes and remixes of old favorites and new hits like you've never heard before. You may recognize Anna Kendrick from the Twilight series, where she acted as the petite chatterbox at Bella's school. In this movie, Kendrick takes on a completely different role, this time a witty, charming, and ambitious college student serious about pursuing her career in the music industry. Other cast members include Brittany Snow as Chloe, Anna Camp as Aubrey, Skylar Austin as Jessie, and McLovin, aka Christopher Mintz-Plasse, as Tommy. If you ever enjoyed watching Step Up, Mean Girls, Bring It On, Glee, and Workaholics, then I definitely recommend watching this movie. The film is filled with humor to absolute perfection, and it even got the guys in the audience to laugh hysterically and sing and dance along in their seats. And if you haven't already, be sure to check out the movie's trailer online for yourself. Pitch Perfect, directed by Jason Moore, hits theaters on October the 5th.
Thanks, Michelle. Now it's time to wrap things up with our final word. Recently, I have been very excited about Steven Spielberg's latest project, Lincoln, starring the great Daniel Day-Lewis as the 16th president. After finally seeing the official trailer, my anticipation for this film has increased significantly. It is truly eerie how much Daniel Day-Lewis looks like Honest Abe, and his performance is already captivating, even if it was only a trailer. I can already hear Oscar calling his name. However, Daniel Day-Lewis isn't the only actor to be excited about on this film. It stars Sally Field, David Strathairn, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, James Spader, Hal Holbrook, and Tommy Lee Jones. This is an incredibly talented ensemble cast. But Lincoln isn't a full-on biopic. Instead, it focuses on those last few months of Abe's life, trying to bring an end to slavery and bring the war to a peaceful conclusion. The film will open on November 9th in limited theaters, and then it will expand for a full release on November 19th.
And a band that I would like to spotlight is Mumford & Sons. I first discovered them 2 years ago when I heard Little Lion Man on the radio. Immediately, I downloaded the song from iTunes and listened to the rest of the album 3 times in one sitting. I soon fell in love with the band and everything it encompasses. Their debut album, Sigh No More, is phenomenal, and it portrayed so much raw emotion that I had never heard a band like this before. Their second album will be released on September 25th, and it's named Babel. I already have the new single, and it's amazing. Mumford & Sons has shaped my music taste by introducing me to the indie folk genre, and I've never looked back. So if you're a huge fan of them like I am, go to iTunes and pre-order their new album now. And be sure to catch them performing on Saturday Night Live this weekend with host Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
And before we go, it's time for this week's Movie Spotlight. As we already know, Brave is the story of a fiery red-headed princess who defies her family's expectations in order to pave her own path in life. What you may not have known, though, is that her character is Scottish. Reese Witherspoon was originally cast as the voice of Princess Merida. As is usually the case, scheduling conflicts kept her from the role, and Kelly MacDonald took over instead.
And this film marks the first time Pixar has introduced a female protagonist, and it was almost titled The Bear and the Bow before the studio settled on Brave. This is also the first Pixar movie to be released after the death of key Pixar player Steve Jobs. The studio paid tribute to him by not only dedicating the film to his memory, but by creating the character of Lord Macintosh, a direct reference to the Apple computer.
And lastly, keep an eye out for the Pizza Planet truck, a fixture in nearly every Pixar film. I'll give you a hint. It's in the witch's hut. And that's it for this week's Real Deal. Be sure to check us out on Facebook and Twitter for updates on all things entertainment. Until next time, I'm Andrew Bennett.
And I'm Kayli Russell. See you next week.